Hey Neppers, it's me, Juan Neptune, and this video going over what I've been doing, where I've been, and all that. So, let's get started. You might have noticed that I've not been streaming or really playing Epic 7 in quite a while, and this is because, as some of you might know or suspect, I have quit playing the game, and this video is a little brief rundown on why I've quit, my mindset overall, and some other, future things. So, the main reasons why I'm leaving, and these are not in any order. The first one is obviously going to be in PvP. I feel like PvP is in a really, really bad spot at the moment. It just isn't fun, and I think most players know why it's not fun. The power creep is out of hand. You basically need like the best, newest units overall, or you just can't compete. Somebody made a joke where what did you do in PvP? Just don't pull for like 2 years, save all your stuff, and then after that, you pull all the new heroes, you pull all the new MO5 stars, and boom, you have a meta composition, and you're a step ahead of everybody else, right? And I know this is kind of a joke, but it's also kind of true. Uh, Also, though, for me personally, and because this is more psychological, because I did so well in the WC, I got top 8, got the frame. It's like I was never gonna do better than that in PvP, right? In Epic 7 at least. I kind of peaked, and I really have nothing really else to play for, but for like the pride of playing. I whatever whatever that is worth, right? Also, too, when I played Epic 7 PvP, I always felt like I was supposed to win my matches, no matter what. And I don't go into other games like this. It's just Epic 7 for some reason. Even other games where I have, like, accomplishments in, right? It's just in Epic 7. So when I win, it's like, oh, I was supposed to win, whatever. But when I lose, you feel upset. So I got no joy from winning. And losing, I get the opposite of joy, right? Just pain. And that's one of the reasons why I didn't really do a lot of PvP, post E7WC, because I just didn't enjoy doing it. And this wouldn't really be that big of an issue if there were other things to do in Epic 7. But there were just not other things to do in the game. At least not meaningful things. All the PvE content basically is to get you stronger to do PvP. There is no endgame PvE. The endgame PvE is farming hunts, right? And that's something that like you basically start doing like early, like late early game to like the mid game. Expeditions, right? That's like in the mid game basically. There's no content where you are building units and getting better gear to beat or be better than other players in PvE. There is no like PvE scoring metric that is meaningful enough for people to care about it in Epic 7. And I don't know why this is the case. A lot of other games have, PvE content that has like competitive aspects to it, that are not like Guild Wars or like, normal arena, right? Which are like half PvP, half PvE, right? And I think something like that though would do like really well in Epic 7. And I understood for a little bit why it wasn't in the game, but Epic 7 is like over 3 years old now, and I don't think there's really an excuse not to have someone like that in Epic 7. The other big factor was, for me at least, there just really wasn't any way for me to improve my units or my account reasonably, right? Um, my gear was really good. Not like the best gear, but it was at a high enough quality where for a long time, me getting upgrades was really, really, really hard. And to the point where I had to like target specific pieces of gear to improve like one character or like one slot. Um, in the past few hunt events, the only thing I did was like boots, and then next, and then like weapons, right? I believe it took me something like um like couple of million, I don't know, like a lot of crafting materials before I got a boot that was an upgrade over the Soul Weaver stuff that I needed, right? And then for the past like few hundred events too, I've only done necks and weapons, and I've gotten no upgrades. As far as what I've been targeting. So I've been specifically targeting speed set necks and weapons that have speed subs on them. And for the neck to be an upgrade, the speed sub has to be 20 or above, I believe. And it has to have a health main stat, or I guess a defense main stat, with also, okay subs, right? And the weapon has to be a speed set weapon, and it has to be, I believe, 20 speed, right? And you might think, oh, 20 speed sounds like a high number. For, like, where I am, it really isn't, right? It's like, not that big of an ask to get, like, a 20 speed set weapon, in like one of them in like a year, right? Because like that's like how long I've been trying to do it for. The last time I got an upgrade, a speed set piece upgrade with speed on it for speed was like a year ago on any single piece besides the ring, where I've gotten two 22 speed rings. One of them is resist main, and one of them is a defense main. And besides that, that's like all I've gotten. And I can't really use those for like cleaving, right? And they don't really help me for, a lot of other units that want speed too. It's just one of those things where there's like no room to improve on. And yes, I've gotten like good pieces of gear in the events, right? But they're just not they're like on paper they're good, but I've like no use for them because I have so many other pieces of gear that are just as good as those pieces with those types of stats that it doesn't mean anything, right? Yes, I can gear more units, but because like you are very constrained in one, what units are actually even worth using in the meta now, and two, the Molagora stuff, right? That you just kind of have like a surplus of gear when you're at the at the end game. Like I got a weapon that was like 50% effectiveness, right? Pentaroll effectiveness, and you look at it and you're like, oh, in a vacuum, the piece is actually probably pretty good, right? But you think it's like, imagine this was like attack or like health or like, God forbid, if it was like pentaroll and speed, like how insane something like that would look like. But no, it has to be like a niche stat like effectiveness, right? And it's like the game giving you like the middle finger. Yeah. Another thing is that, and this is not really related to why I'm quitting, but something I kind of want to say, and I don't even really think it's true, or I don't know how true it is, but, and I probably would not have said this unless I was leaving the game. I've always kind of had an inkling that I wasn't really respected as a player by the upper end PvP community, right? Despite what I did in WC, and despite, my advice and help for like newer players, stuff like that, I've always kind of felt I was on the outside looking in. Like I was like never really a member of the quote unquote club, if you get my meaning there. I think this has to do with my playstyle back then being very volatile. So I come from a card game background, and I look at RNG in games like Epic 7 a lot differently than I feel like a lot of other players do, or did at least at the time. Because I feel like a lot of top players don't come or didn't come from gacha game backgrounds, or they want the game to be more like an FPS or a fighting game, And to them, I would say you probably don't want to play a gacha game. Um, it's just like a different style of game, and it's like I've always felt, or like kind of, some things I've heard and talked to people, like have kind of confirmed this, that a lot of the top players, they really enjoyed the slower, methodical matches um, in, what do you call it, the WC, like those DN, like LRK matches, stuff like that, because it really highlighted like long decision making trees and stuff like that. It's the same, like, I don't know if it's a fallacy, but like mindset on how control players in card games are like more skilled at the game, when that's not like really the case. Sometimes it is, right? But there's like more nuance to it than that. Um, but because my play style wasn't like that, and it wasn't always clear that the best player won in my matches. Now I would argue that in my matches, that when I won, that the best player did win. And to be fair, in the finals, in the top 8, when I lost, Jim was the better player than I was, right? So I will give him that. But it's just that I always felt I never really got the recognition or props for doing what I did in the WC. Not even like I really deserved. I felt like I deserved it, but it's almost like it was looked down upon somehow, right? And again, I know that like what I'm saying might not even be true, and it probably isn't, right? But even have like the inkling that who I would call my peers don't really look favorably upon a accomplishment in the game, it does kind of get to you after a little bit. Kind of related to the WC, not really, and I'm not positive if I said this before, but I feel like because of the way that Smilegate pushed World Arena to be a esports heavy sweat, like best of the best PvP type content, that they set the expectations for it where there was no room for fun in RTA. And I understand that some players will have fun, right? Just like do the meme team, stuff like that. But anybody who's looking to like seriously rank up, stuff like that, I would argue that a lot of them aren't having fun doing it, right? They're doing it for the prestige or for the frame, right? Like the Emperor frame, the Legend frame, right? That's really all there is to it. I definitely see, and I won't name names, but players in the Discord who only care, who ask, and they only care about like, is this a qualifying season for the World Championship? Is like, is this gonna help me get into like Emperor or Legend? They're not like, when you talk to players, they're not talking about like having fun in the game. They're talking about like winning. I guess winning is fun, but a game is in a really good spot when you can lose and still be having fun, in the loss. And Epic 7 just doesn't have that, right? And I know that's like a really, really high bar. Very, very few games, I think, reach that type of level of gameplay. But it just feels so bad in Epic 7 to lose. Because of the stress that Smilegate has put on the importance of World Arena. And the fact that World Arena doesn't have those alternative formats really that are officially, put out, right, that you can queue into other people, I think also hurts it, right? Like having like a mode that isn't as serious that people can do for fun, right? I think would have went quite a long way to make it feel like, hey, you can do this like fun thing, right, in your spare time and keep playing the game, right? Build like new units for this. But if you want to do like the super sport version that we want to push for an esport, you can do that too sometimes also. Handful of minor things too. So the first one is that I feel like the content drip has been a little bit too slow. I understand that the pandemic was a thing, still kind of is, right? Obviously, but it's just that how much meaningful content has come out recently? It's like the guild thing was delayed. Specialty changes have been extended. So like like more time between them, and there are a number of reasons why I think this happened. Not like going to go into that. Uh, Things like all we really had was like side stories, and like regular story, right? Light light expedition, stuff like that, right? But like new Abyss stages takes a long time to come out. Um, like nothing new in like it took like over a year, I believe, for us to get all the bosses in Hellraid. That's like how long, and now we're due for like another type of raid. Basically, it's it's just so long until like Tower, like that came out a long ass time ago, and then the Tower change took like a long ass time too. uh like we need um more like stuff to do in the game, and there has to be ways to make like all the content that's been solved to be done quicker, right? Because like the thing is, when you add more content to the game, obviously it means players had to spend more time playing the game. But so to alleviate that, you make doing like the other content faster or easier somehow, where players can still play the same amount and still do everything. Like that's like the you know really, in my opinion, how you should be managing um, the gacha game, right? It's like the game has to, in a way, respect the player's time. Um, so, as on that, the game, at least for PvP, doesn't respect the player's time. And this has to do with the scoring system in RTA. Um, the One of the reasons why I didn't really play either is because the scoring inflation in RTA every season is so insane. You just look at like the numbers and how many fights like you calculate how you would have to do. It's just mind-boggling that people like had to spend like if I wanted to place, I would probably have to take off work. If I wanted to really push into like Emperor or into Legend, right? Because of the time commitment I would need on the final day in order to push me into that point. Um, the and it's like that's just like I don't think it's reasonable to make players do. I think like I've always had the mindset where they should have had something where once you reach a certain threshold, you get put into a separate bracket of players that you cannot fall out of, right? So you can lock in like the second highest like frame, or even the highest frame, whatever, by doing this like one thing. Then once you're there for the whole season, right? So you can meme around, you can like goof off, you can like stop playing if you want to, right? I guess to incentivize people, to keep playing, have like daily rewards, right? I've always been kind of against rewards in RTA for like dailies or for like stuff like that, or like a shop. But if it meant having that to keep people playing, um, you know, in like the higher tiers, if there's like no decay up there, I would probably be for that type of change. Anyway, I want to be clear where I think community in general is great. All the community managers too have been very nice and great to me whenever I talk to them, including New. Right, I understand he's no longer with Smilegate, but him, Mashu, Luca, Giguri. Who's that the one white guy who works at Smilegate Career? Daniel. Right, all of them have been terrific, but just like you know I guess this is my time to go. Anyway, if you have any questions on anything else, like more specifics and what I've said in the video, you can always catch me on stream. I still stream at Twitch, so hope you stop on by. I've been playing a lot of Yu-Gi-Oh! Recently, so like Yu-Gi-Oh! Stop on by. Planning on trying to play some Lost Ark when it comes out too, so hopefully that will be fun and exciting. Anyway, I'm Neptune. It's been a good one. Nep out.